I wasn't recording
The whole thing.
the whole thing.
I kept looking for the time.
I was pressing it.
I kept looking for the time.
God, dude. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude.
Talk about an intro. This is your warm up for your your weights film in what mile?
Deja vu.
Man, don't do this again. All right, so people that are listening, we just recorded like 10, 15 minutes without me hitting the record button. That's my bad, y'all.
We're warmed up. That's what it means.
Who's bad? That's
my bad.
Okay.
It's me. I'll take that one. You know, I'm not that kind of person where if I make a mistake, I'm going to try to blame somebody else. I'm going to take it.
If you blame it on anybody else, you can blame it on Paul because he's the next closest, if not closer to the thing.
But I guess. But yeah, Paul, you're right. Now we're kind of a little bit woke. I mean, because
sure.
It is early. You know, I know Zach, you were kind of complaining about how early it was, and I mean, you stayed up till 6 a.m. playing Madden, so I understand that.
Is that why you were like complaining earlier on the Messenger because you knew you were going to play Madden till like 5 or 6 in the morning?
No, the Madden didn't really. The conception of the Madden playing last night didn't even happen until like 1.
Oh, okay.
Or 2 probably.
Yeah. And then you got stuck into it until 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Did you get any sleep?
I mean, that's like an hour, probably hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
But my boy doesn't have a mic, so we were playing on the speakerphone. We just called each other.
Did y'all follow
the speakerphone? And we were talking about. You remember when you had minutes? Like, because everyone, I just have an unlimited plan.
Yeah. Everybody's got,
Yeah, so remember when you had minutes? You're like, oh, dude, I can't talk to you until after 7 because nights are free or whatever.
Right.
Like, oh, what's your provider? I could talk sprint to sprint for free. Or I would text you back, but I only got 2 text messages until next month or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that? That's crazy.
I remember that. Did y'all like fall asleep together on the phone?
No, we haven't.
No, y'all didn't do that? No, okay. Recon Podcast, episode 8. Week 3.
Fall asleep on the phone together.
Week 3 recap. Cedar Park 41, San Angelo Central 35. We talked about this, when I wasn't recording. Cedar Park with the tough,
you know what, Chris?
Non-district schedule.
San Angelo is a good team.
They are a good team, bro.
Every year.
They're a really good team. The Cedar Park plays Katy Cinco Ranch next week for homecoming.
They have a good non-district schedule.
They do. Man, why are you being so condescending to me right now?
I'm just trying to say they do.
Push record.
I know. Golly, I'm so sorry, y'all. Cedar Park 41, San Angelo Central 35. Cedar Park now 2-1. Vandergrift 28, Cedar Ridge 7. Do your thing again, Zach. I mean, you already talked about the Vandergrift game when we weren't recording, but now that we're recording, talk about the Vandergrift game. Tell me something different this time.
Special teams.
There you go. I like that.
The first Cedar Ridge's first possession. I mean, you're really excited to see Deuce Vaughn. You're really excited to see the progression of Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They move the ball a little bit and then they have to punt from probably their own 20, 25, and blocked punt. Wyatt Breckenridge.
Yeah.
Wyatt Breckenridge and scooped up in the end zone for a touchdown. That's the first score of the game. After that, two big passes from Drew Dawson. So it really jumped on them early. You hate to see only 7 points in the second half, but just able to see that kind of explosion of points and of offense was really exciting to see. And that Wyatt Breckenridge kid, talked to Coach Sanders after the game. That's a kid that was on JV last year as a junior, and now he's on varsity as a senior. And he's talking about a lot of times those kids quit. Those kids say, like, you're not going to put me on varsity as a junior. Like, that's embarrassing. I'm not going to play. And so that just kind of speaks to his character and his dedication to the program to stick it out. And he got a blocked punt that game, and then an interception that was almost returned for a touchdown.
Yeah, Vandergrift 28, Cedar Ridge 7. Also last night, Westwood 28, Hendrickson 27. I should have went to that game. I said that when we weren't recording.
Yeah, that's it. I told you.
5 grabs. Yeah, 5 grabs, 122 yards for Oliver Yu. 3 touchdowns. Shout out to Oliver. All from RJ Martinez. Westwood going for the 2-point conversion with about 3 minutes left on the clock. Coach Wood said, you know what, I'm going to leave it up to my defense to win this one for me if I don't make this 2-point conversion. But they did convert. RJ Martinez to Jace Line. Westwood's defense shut out Hendrickson in the second half, and it was
That's on me.
Thanks, Max Preps. I appreciate it.
Hey, remember, what did you say? You're not the kind of person to what? Blame other people?
I'm not the kind of person to blame other people, but Paul, turn your dang computer down.
And don't point at my phone. He pointed at my phone.
He's pointed at your phone.
I hit mute on my computer, and I swear I was like, okay, I hit mute, and I pulled up a webpage, and I was wrong.
Man, apologies, man. This is probably our worst podcast yet. Westwood.
Apologies. Got that right.
But it's funny.
Westwood versus Vista Ridge next week. All of a sudden, that Vista Ridge Westwood game is a huge game. They're both 1-0 and 13-6A. Vista Ridge 42, McNeil 14 last night. I did go check out that football game. Shout out to Vista Ridge student section. I've seen some. I mean, there's some lit student sections. I know Vandergrift's got one. Vista Ridge, man, they was getting at it last night. And
Where was that game at?
At Gupton.
How deep was the student section?
I would say at least it took the whole section, like the bottom section,
to the top of that section.
Yeah, to the top of that section, and then probably a little bit more than that. Yeah. I mean, it was.
We talking
and
coordinated cheers.
We were talking coordinated cheers.
Was anything throwing in the air? Throwing anything?
I don't know. I got there a little bit late, so I might have missed that part. I might have missed that part. But the Vista Ridge student section, and then like right after halftime, the band like went over there and like they do like this little cheer or whatever. And
that Nick Cannon stuff.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I don't know. It was, but yeah, it was pretty cool, man. So Vista Ridge.
If you're a student section and you can throw stuff safely, like powder, like glitter,
water,
like beach balls, water would be cool too. Anything that's safe.
Yeah.
I think that's lit. That's so cool.
And Vista Ridge now they're undefeated, led by Kyle Brown. They're 1-0.
They all wear the same thing. That's another good question.
They did not. They did not.
You gotta have a theme. They always have themes.
But yeah, Westwood versus Vista Ridge next week. I'll probably go to that game. Also, last night Stony Point dropped 66 points on Leander. Leander 0-1 in 13-6A. Xavier Dotson, the highlight for that Leander Lions football team. Stony Point, Kendall Thomas had 233 yards, I believe it was, on 12 carries. 66 points for Stony Point. They're going to be on bye. Then they're at Cedar Ridge here in a couple weeks. Hutto still winning 38-14 over El Paso del Valle. Then the game that Paul went to, Bastrop 35, Conley 21. Now, I was predicting a Conley win. I think, Paul,
I took Conley also.
Yeah, you took Conley as well. But from what you were telling me, Paul, just Desmond Young, he's the real deal.
Yeah, Desmond Young is real, the quarterback for Bastrop. And the game kind of started out really just slow in the beginning. I mean, the score at halftime was 14-14. Both kind of teams were able to punch two in early on. The second half is really where Desmond Young just took the game over. And there was a pivotal moment with 2:44 left in the third quarter where Connolly just basically had a 4th and 2, and they couldn't convert and turn the ball over on downs. Subsequently, with about a minute left, Connolly got a 4th and 4 stop to hold Bastrop. It's 21-14 at this time. Connolly, all they had to do was drive down about 20 yards and punch it in. They turned the ball over, so they gave Bastrop the ball. Bastrop drives down, scored 28. Now it's 28-21 going into the fourth quarter, and Desmond Young breaks a 76-yard TD and finalizes that score at 35-21. But shout out to Jade Barron. I mean, that kid, whenever Conley needed a 4th down conversion or a 3rd down conversion, they just throw a little hitch out to him, and he's running past the sticks to get the first down. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Demetrius Gardner-Holmes also. Great runs. Highlights are on Recon Athlete on Instagram. Check those out. But Connolly, next week, tough game against Liberty Hill. So we'll see
Thursday night game.
That's a Thursday night game. That's right. So we'll see how that goes down. But, Connolly played well. I think they're a little bit of a dark horse. They're 0-3 right now. But if they could possibly get a win like Maynard did over Liberty Hill, that could turn their season around. So just shout out to Bastrop. I need to go out there and cover them because they look like a solid squad. And I don't even think they're playing at 100% yet. But my lock it up right now. Week 3, Bastrop takes their district. So I'm excited to see them in the future. Yeah,
Bastrop on a bye next week, and then they're going to take on the Weiss Wolves. You mentioned Maynard getting that first win of 2019 over Liberty Hill, 33-28. So Coach Mitchell getting his first win. Maynard is going to be taking on Houston St. Pius the 10th next week. So We talked to Stony Point. They're going to be on bye, and then at Cedar Ridge as well. Then I forgot to mention Hutto is at Houston Lamar. All right. Then we got McNeil and Vista Ridge. We talked about that game earlier, 42-14. Huge win for the Vista Ridge. Westlake, 58. Aikens, 7. I don't think we need to break down that game too much there, fellas.
No.
Big game next week. Well, it is a big game. It's a rivalry game. Westlake at Austin High. Probably going to be at House Park. Whenever Westlake goes to House Park, it's a big deal. Those stands get full, and they get full on both sides. And I think Austin Highs, they've got the talent on offense. Their defense is going to get tested. We'll see what kind of game plan that Rosie, as they'd like to call him, Coach Rosenthal has over at Austin High for Westlake. But Westlake, it just seems like they're just a machine right now. They're just putting up 50-plus points and either shutting out or giving up one touchdown.
Charles Wright, get the ball out quick because they're going to be pressuring you to see if you can throw into tight windows. And I think Westlake's going to play a lot of zone coverage and getting after the quarterback to limit the movement of the ball because the offense operates out of Charles Wright's arm. So shout out to Westlake for that big win, but Austin High, get ready.
I think if Austin High can hang, then I think they're as good as some people think they are. But that's all it is, just a matter of hanging in the game,
right?
And not becoming one of these let me play my fourth string guys type of games.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing you want to like at least be in this game if you're Austin High. I mean, obviously you want to win, but Westlake is just kind of on another level right now. They're just in the stratosphere. So if you can just hang in there with them, that'll really kind of be a. You don't really look for moral victories, but it might be a moral victory for Austin High. All right, Aikens taking on Lake Travis next week. Well, at least they get the big guys out of the way, right? They go Westlake and then Lake Travis. So shout out to the Aikens Eagles. Lake Travis winning last night against Bowie. Homecoming game for the Cavaliers, 52-10.
Lake Travis is trying to get back and climbing the polls, putting up high numbers, 50s and 40s, and then their scores. And I think these two teams, Westlake and Lake Travis, they're going to mirror themselves until they play their huge rivalry matchup. And we'll see how that plays out because I think that's really going to set the tone as they go into deep district play in the playoffs.
All right, Austin High 38, Lehman 14. We talked to Austin High and Westlake, big game next week. Anderson 20, Del Valley 17. Upset of the week, fellas?
No, I don't think that's the upset of the week. I think Maynard Liberty Hill is the upset of the week. But Anderson is legit. I mean, for them to limit the high octane offense that Del Valley has, I think is tremendous. So shout out to Anderson and limiting Del Valley to play 17 points. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah. Anderson led by Carson Gruce. Anderson is still 3-0. They're now 1-0 in 25-6A. They go to Cardinal Stadium, get the win over Caleb Burton and crew. And that is, I mean, I can see Maynard and Liberty Hill, that being but isn't that 5A against 4A?
You can't call it that upset.
You can't call that, you can or can't.
That's fine. If Liberty Hill played a traditional offense and Liberty Hill didn't go to the playoffs every year and Liberty Hill did win state championships,
they go to 4A playoffs.
That's fine, and I clearly understand the mindset of what you're coming at. But Maynard, past the last two games that they played previously, did not show that they could win this game based off their performances. Liberty Hill's coming off that beatdown that they got by Hutto last week. I understand 6A should dominate.
Does anybody have the final? What was the final of that Maynard Liberty Hill game?
33-28.
Okay, 33, putting up 33 points. Like I think that tells you that it's not like that they're just physically dominant
on the road.
Yeah,
that could be. Yeah, I mean, I get your point. It is 5A against 4A, but still, I mean, Liberty Hill's a really good 4A squad. But we did see that. I mean, last week Hutto rolled them at home too. So maybe they, could have been. It's probably a case where they graduated a lot of guys, and maybe it's a young team, and they're just still trying to figure it out.
I'll tell you what they probably graduated 17 people from that school. Mm-hmm. It's a small school.
Well, nobody went to school like you did with 3,500 kids, Zach.
Yeah.
I mean, my graduating class was like 298 people.
Well, what was yours, Chris?
I think it was like 560.
Oh.
What was yours?
Well, 600.
Yeah.
That's 6 something.
Yeah.
And I was at a 4A school in the early 2000s, and this is before they had the Class 6A. So we were a 4A team with 300 kids.
Well, that would be like saying if
Liberty Hill at the time was a 3A school.
If Henderson would have beat your school, that wouldn't be an upset.
No. But the reason it wasn't upset is because of the style of play that Maynard's playing the past 2 weeks. That's where I'm basing this off of.
But we just kept talking and saying that Maynard just needs to be like unlocked. Like we kind of said the same thing about Conley.
And that's that's what I had said on Wednesday.
But when you finally go off, that's not an upset. It's just you're finally going off, and Liberty Hill was unfortunately on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, I can see, because Maynard lost.
Pick a side, Chris.
Maynard lost week 1 in overtime, 32-29 over West Laco East. Who? And then they lost again to Copper's Cove.
Copper's Cove's
37-33.
Copper's Cove's good.
I agree. Copper's Cove.
And Maynard was in, but Maynard was in both of those games.
Yes, sir. They were.
They could have won those games.
Yes, sir. They were.
I said, but I already picked a side, Zach. I said Anderson Del Valle was the upset of the week for me.
But do you think it is legitimate to call Maynard over Liberty Hill upset?
No.
Thank you.
I mean, I have to think about it though. You see that I had a little contemplative clock there.
I think that was just because you were going to talk more than just saying no.
Well, but I want to keep it a yes or no answer on that one. Anderson is going to take on Hayes this Thursday. That's a huge Thursday game. And then Del Valle plays Thursday as well. Both these teams off of a really close game have a short week. Del Valle is at Bowie. Anderson taking on the Hayes Rebels. And also Thursday, Conley versus Liberty Hill. There's Liberty Hill again. So shout out to Liberty Hill. I mean, they're getting all the 5A schools around here.
If Liberty Hill if Liberty Hill loses to Conley, I'll digress on my argument next week.
No matter what. If Conley beats Liberty Hill, it's not an upset. If Liberty Hill beats Conley, you could call that an upset because it's a 4A school beating a 5A.
All right. Georgetown 11, South San Antonio 8. Not sure what happened in this game, but I think I'm going to go try to listen to SHN or something to figure out what South San Antonio did to limit Georgetown to 11 points. So I mean,
the South Side.
I mean, right? Yeah. I mean, you know what's on the South Side of San Antonio, Zach?
They're fueled by menudo and tortillas over there. They got energy for days and days.
When you were in college, did you ever cross Highway 90?
Well,
that's a no again.
So
don't talk to me about Southside.
Tell us about Highway 90s, Paul.
Well, Highway 90 I used to live near because I used to live in King William districts in San Antonio, Texas. Well, Highway 90 is where you don't go after dark, just because
I lived in Alamo Heights.
The demographics are not conducive to your safety.
I lived in Alamo Heights.
Yeah, that's right.
Terrell Hills.
Hell, you didn't even cross downtown. You were in Midtown. You were what they would call the Westlake of San Antonio.
We went downtown to go out. First Friday.
I don't know, man.
Did you ever cross Market Street?
That's where we would go.
That's right. You didn't cross it though, did you?
To walk to the other side of the road, avoid the crazy people.
My point exactly.
Dripping Springs 54, New Braunfels Canyon 38. Dripping Springs now 2-1. I couldn't find a schedule for Dripping Springs. I don't know why. We'll have to look that one up.
I got it right here.
What is it? Who do they got next week?
I lied.
Oh man, come on, Paul.
That link you tried that link too.
You need to apologize.
Come on, Paul.
I did. I said my bad.
Apologies. I forgot to mention Georgetown is on a bye next week, and then they're going to have a homecoming game versus Stephenville. So Georgetown still getting ready for their district play. Crockett 48, Maynard New Tech 6.
Stephenville, isn't their mascot like a bird, like a parrot?
No, it's not.
No, what is their mascot?
Stephenville?
Yeah.
Golly, how come
they're the Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets.
Oh man, I was close. I thought.
Golly, you're throwing me off. Glenn 35, McCallum 14. McCallum Knights still kind of trudging along here in 2019. Waco La Vega 21, LBJ 7. Waco La Vega defending state champs 4A. They beat LBJ. Is that an upset, Zach?
Yeah, Zach.
Hold on, before
as a 5A.
Before I go there,
they're a 4A state champion team beating a 5A school.
Before I go there, I heard that McCutcheon is going to be out for the whole season. So, that's real tough news. Not only for the kid, but just for Central Texas as a whole. That was one of the marquee players in the area.
There's a lot of talent on that defense, though. in the secondary. So
But still, you lose your number one guy.
it's a 5-star kid, and I got it.
Yeah, he's going to Alabama. But, you still got Andrew Makuba back there. That dude is legit.
Top end speed.
Absolutely. So
and this is where your recruiting takes off too. There's recruiters already scheduled to go to all these games.
Shout out Fresh.
Right. So for the guys that are going to come out to see McCutcheon play, we'll get to see now's these other guys' time to shine. That's how you pick up offers like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sean Fresh is a good example of that. Tremendous athlete, and he'll probably be one of those guys that will take advantage of that situation where you're going to have scouts, like you said, already going to be going out there, so they'll be able to see Makuba and Sean Fresh.
Make a name for yourself.
Absolutely. But back to my question, Zach. Waco La Vega, defending state champion, 21, LBJ 7, 4A state champion beating a 5A team. Is that an upset?
No, because it's a champion. Every game doesn't have to be an upset.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Eastview 61, Northeast Reagan 7. Eastview now 3-0.
Eastview hanging points.
They are. I mean, it is Northeast, but that's 60 points, guys. I mean, they scored 41.
It's hard to score 60 because your starters aren't even in.
Yeah, they scored 41 last week in their homecoming game against New Braunfels Canyon. 42 overtime win against Westwood in week 1. Now 60. So
it's like 140 points, 40-something points.
Yeah, they're at Marble Falls next week to begin 13-5A Division II play. Do you expect another 40 points from Eastview? I do.
They want to. I think Eastview wants to.
Yeah.
Especially for these kind of bubble teams like that. That's how you kind of make a name for yourself in the district. Is because if you're like with those bubble teams aren't going into the game against you like necessarily nervous for anything. But if you're hanging up these big numbers on people, those guys on the other side are like, damn, I'm not trying to get blown out today.
Yeah, and I mean Eastview right now. I consider them in Vista Ridge. There was a couple of lean years for both of those programs, and now they're sitting at 3-0.
Last year.
Yeah, now they're both sitting at 3-0, and they're ready to just burst out onto the scene here in Central Texas. And I mean, I really think that Eastview wins next week, goes 4-0, which I think they have a really good chance. I mean, they have to go out to Marble Falls to make that happen. Road win games aren't anything that are just in the bag or anything. We can't just mark up a win for them. But if they go out on the road to beat Marble Falls, sitting at 4-0, I mean, you got to be excited if you're an Eastview Patriots fan moving forward.
Yeah, Eastview, if you can hang up a lot of points on Marble Falls, do it.
Week 6, Eastview at Bastrop. I will be there. That's going to be for the district crown, and there will be. I think that game goes maybe in overtime, but it's definitely going to be over 50 points for each team.
And you're still going Bastrop winning that district.
I'm taking Desmond Young to win that victory late.
All right, so Thursday night games: Conley versus Liberty Hill, Anderson versus Hayes, Del Valley at Bowie, Glenn versus Elgin. Favorite game out of that slate, Paul? Conley versus Liberty Hill, Anderson versus Hayes, Del Valley at Bowie, Glenn versus Elgin.
Anderson at Hayes is really interesting because if Hayes can win, that sets them up to possibly get a playoff spot. But if they lose, I think that costs them the whole year, and they're not going to make the playoffs.
I'll have to go with that game as well. Zach, you got a different opinion on that?
No, I think you got to go the Conley Liberty Hill game.
Okay.
For the same reason that we were talking about the Maynard Liberty Hill game for this past weekend. I think that's like a big turning point game for Conley if they can kind of click and get a win over a team they should beat, but it's still a competitive team. Paul's favorite team, Liberty Hill. I think that's big, and if they lose, those guys are going to be dejected going into district play.
Yeah, that is true. But I also think Del Valley and Bowie, both of these teams coming off of losses. I think that's a big game, but I have to stick with Anderson versus Hayes. Del Valley and Bowie, both these teams really desperately need a win. Next week in district play. Big games: Cedar Park versus Katy Cinco Ranch next Friday.
Oof.
Cedar Ridge at Leander. Westwood versus Vista Ridge, one I'm probably going to go to. Zach will be at the Hendrickson and Vandegrift game. Hutto at Houston Lamar. Bastrop is on a bye. Then they take on Weiss. You got Stony Point on the bye as well. McNeil versus Round Rock. Aikens versus Lake Travis. Westlake at Austin High. Huge rivalry game there. Lehman's on a bye. Georgetown on a bye. Maynard taking on Houston St. Pius X. McCallum versus LBJ. LBJ probably the favorite in this game. It is a rivalry game, but I mean
that line is moving.
That line is moving. Eastview they're actually on a bye, and then they got Marble Falls, and then Pflugerville versus Waco La Vega. All right, before we end this podcast, we were going to talk a little bit NFL, fellas. Now, we had our debate and actually got some feedback on the Dak versus Deshaun debate that we had the other on episode 7. Like, some people were upset with me
For not saying Dak?
for not saying Dak. Yeah,
They said you weren't bleeding Cowboys
yeah,
blood.
well, yes, dude, I got a little flack for it.
Well, I think you...
I was like, for real? I was like, but
Well, you
do y'all
have common sense.
Do y'all watch football? I
They
don't
watch...
know.
Those people don't watch football. They watch the Cowboys.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Those people are the people that are trash at fantasy football because they have they have Michael Gallup on their team, or whatever that dude's first name is on this team.
Yeah.
If Gardner Minshew was a Cowboy, they would have him as their second string quarterback.
Yeah, they probably have like they have got Brett Maher as their kicker and Cowboys defense, but yeah,
Their name is some pun with Troy Aikman or something like that.
Yeah, but it's Deshaun Watson versus Dak Prescott. I mean, I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a decent quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to say he's an elite quarterback, but I think
He's a decent quarterback.
I think Deshaun Watson has the potential to be an elite quarterback if he is an elite quarterback right now. Elite quarterback, Deshaun Watson?
Potentially.
Elite quarterback, Deshaun Watson?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
Look, I'm just going to say this real quick for all the Cowboy lovers and haters out there. This is Paul Rodriguez, P-Rod. I just want to identify myself. So you know who's talking. Dak Prescott is a 4th-round quarterback and above average at best, period.
Dallas Cowboys at Washington Redskins tomorrow. Has the line moved at all? Dallas is still a 5-point favorite. 46.5 is the over-under.
The line has moved.
It has. Where's it gone?
Dallas is a 6-point favorite.
Whoa, 6-point favorite.
Looks like some betting's happened since Wednesday.
So what does that mean, Paul? I mean, you're the betting guy.
So that's saying that Dallas has to win by a touchdown, 7 points or more to cover that bet.
Yeah, I know, but it went from 5 to 6.
That means people are
We
putting
can do
money-
math, Paul.
Well, some people, like when I first started, I didn't know what that really meant.
that's
And
true.
so I had to kind of learn and figure out what all these pluses
It's not a
and
novice
minuses mean.
podcast. You have to be
man.
intermediate or experienced level to listen to this podcast.
I'm not going to restrict access to my podcast for anybody. So getting back to the thing, this means a lot of people are putting money on Dallas. And so Vegas is saying, hey, let's move the line to make this a little bit more competitive. So Dallas is a little bit more of a favorite. I think that Dallas still covers. I think they can win that bet. That's kind of what we said. I think, Chris, you agreed with that on Wednesday when they were a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think, Zach, you said you like the Redskins, didn't you?
To cover.
Have you changed it?
No. I'd never change my bets
All right.
until I do later in the
I
year.
would,
Until you're wrong.
until he's wrong.
I want to talk about 2 games. Paul, if you don't mind looking this one up,
Yeah.
while we talk about
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
other, will you check out that Cleveland New York line? We talked about if that line was going to move before the game.
What was it on Wednesday?
Cleveland by 2.
Cleveland, yeah.
What did we say on Wednesday that people were probably it was gonna move because of Saturday's victory with
Right.
Oklahoma? Yeah. Cleveland is a minus 6.5 favorite.
Oh,
Okay, well, no, we have to preface that with some NFL news.
Yes,
What's
that's
up
true.
with Sam Darnold getting 11th grade mono?
For real.
okay.
That's why it moved that much.
So, yeah.
Is he kissing his family members on the mouth that he has like high school age siblings? He
don't
needs
know,
to chill.
man.
Mono is not a grown man disease.
It is not.
But they're saying that like it's like really, really dangerous to get mono like at an older age. So
Well, he's only like 23 or 22.
he's like 22.
At an older age.
Well, I'm not an older age than 11 when most people would normally have it in art
it's
class.
It's like high school.
It's a high school thing.
But the Jets are done.
Yeah.
All the Dolphins players that were trying to get traded
long-
to the Jets are like, all right, never mind. I'll stay with the Dolphins.
Requesting trades midweek.
How long is he out for?
They said like weeks.
It's a tough thing to recuperate from and to heal up from.
I remember our quarterback in high school got mono, and everybody was like, "How did?"
Bro, you put people on blast.
We were
right
like,
now.
"No." But it was funny because like he wasn't that dude. Like he was he's a doctor now, man. Like he wasn't the dude like chasing girls.
He
He didn't have a bunch of
probably sharing drinks with Sharon.
maybe. Can't be sharing with Sharon, bro.
But
yeah.
what I bet it was, my take on this.
Okay.
You know who just got traded to the Jets? Wide receiver.
Who's that?
Demarius Thomas.
That's true.
From the Patriots.
That's right.
Who does anything possible to win games? Bill Belichick. What's the up and coming team in that division?
The Jets.
The Jets. Demarius Thomas got mono, and Bill Belichick. Do you know the Jets were the only team in the NFL that Bill Belichick hadn't traded with? He finally got a weapon of mass destruction, a bioterror,
So are you telling
to
me-
send to the Jets to give Sam Darnold mono.
So you're telling me that Bill Belichick is now into chemical warfare?
That is
Whatever
a
it takes.
A hot take. I don't know if there's hot takes, Zach, but that's the hottest one right now.
Demarius said, "Hey, bro, you want to try this water? They got good Gatorade in this one."
Are you awake right now? Because that is delirious.
But
I love it.
Think about it.
I mean, hey,
Would you put it past Bill Belichick?
heck
No, not at all.
Bill Belichick is leading the league in players that have had killed people in the past.
Yes.
So if he's any means necessary.
Sam Darnold got mono because Demarius Thomas was sent by Bill Belichick to poison him.
And gave him a drink of water.
Is that what we're saying?
And Demarius Thomas going to get his Super Bowl ring in the mail when the Patriots win.
Jacksonville and Houston, has that line moved at all? We had Houston as a 9-point favorite there, Paul.
It is dropped.
Wow.
Houston is a 8.5 point favorite.
Oh, Gardner Minshew. Everybody likes that guy.
Gardner Flint Minshew. Gardner is
Flint.
his first name.
That's
Flint.
it sounds like a municipality.
That sounds
Welcome to Gardner Flint.
the
Minshew.
the province of Gardner Flint Minshew. That sounds like where the Amish people live.
You can say what you want. The Duke can sling the rock.
But all right. So the last game I want to talk about, the Battle of the Heismans, Arizona Baltimore. Who do you think has a better game?
Lamar Miller.
Lamar Miller, the running back,
The running back.
Running back who can throw.
the running back that tore his knee. Lamar. So you think Lamar Jackson? How surprised would you be if Arizona? What would that say about Kyler Murray if Arizona wins that game?
Listen, I watched the
With the average game, if Kyler Murray has an average game and Arizona wins,
I think that would be tremendous. I did watch the end of that game last week, and if the ball just gets completed on that fourth down in the red zone, Arizona wins that game and comes from nowhere to pull the W. But I think Kyler Murray has an average game and they pull it off. Props to Kingsbury for putting them in the position to get it done.
and I think there's so much to be seen with this Cardinals offense. They're going to get him moving around a little more because, man, that last game they were slapping balls on that defensive line. Man, they were batting a lot of balls down, which I think is something you're going to have to get over because that's going to be like a very real thing is getting balls batted down. So if you can move out of the pocket, out of the ball slap zone, and into like a space where he can complete some passes, I think that would help.
But that's not what that's not what the spread offense does. That's not what the air raid offense is about moving the pocket and creating passing lanes. And I agree with you. The balls are going to get batted down unless you move the quarterback or roll them out. And yeah, I like your little anecdote right there, slapping balls
That's what they were doing
on the defensive line. Chris, what are you queuing up there?
Bird, you there?
Yes, we have a caller online.
What's up, bro?
What's going on, dude?
Oh man, we're doing the podcast right now. You got any hot takes about Jacksonville and Houston or?
In Jacksonville and Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, that quarterback that's like 22 looks like he's like 49.
Which one is that?
Foles back up. The guy's playing, man.
The province.
What's that?
Minshew.
Minshew.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look. Pull up a pic. He looks like he's like 49, divorced.
Gardner Minshew looks like he's 49 years old. That's what my buddy Bird is saying. What else you got, Bird?
That's all. I just I want to be a shining example and more of a cautionary tale. That's how I want to be remembered. So.
All right, brother. I'll call you right back.
All right. Well, yeah, I was calling in to get my hot take. That
All
was my hot take.
There's your hot take.
Later.
So I pulled
Gardner Minshew's my favorite player.
So we pulled up a picture of Gardner Minshew and what looks like and what looks like 1973 garb with a.
That's Austin Gardner Minshew powers right there.
Gardner Minshew has aviators on, a red Western cut,
Got the chest
shirt,
out.
and he's got the collar popped over the jacket collar with the hamburger meat hanging out, and a 1981 gold chain to his like nipples.
That line is about to go crazy if everybody sees that
If
picture.
somebody sees that picture, no wonder the line is moving. So
that's
people
your-
saw Gardner Minshew and I was like, dude,
That's an NFL quarterback right there.
And his name is Gardner Minshew. That's how Gardner Minshew is supposed to look.
Gardner Flint Minshew. This guy got recruited by Alabama and transferred, and he actually decided before he got drafted, or before he got signed by Jacksonville, to forego a internship as a GA for Nick Saban in Alabama, and this is what he wants to do as he dresses.
Well, could you imagine? Coach Gardner Minshew. What am I supposed to do on this play? I wouldn't be able to take. I wouldn't be able to take him. So that's like John David Booty can never be in any sort of profession where people refer to him as Mr. anything or Coach anything.
worst dressed, Gardner Minshew or Cam Newton?
Oh, did you see that last photo of Cam Newton
Yeah.
from the press conference?
Yeah, who's worse?
Man, Gardner Minshew got the juice.
I'm gonna say
I'll say you, Chris. Honestly,
Oh man,
Cam Newton looks like Medea's cousin.
Cam Newton looked like Medea goes thrift shopping. That's what he looked. That's like the new movie starring Cam Newton.
anything
You know
else?
the movie Big Mama's House? Cam Newton like he went to Big Mama's store. That's what.
Oh man,
Shout out
This
Cam Newton.
This went off the rails.
One more thing before we end this, Chris. If y'all are digging the podcast, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Don't forget to turn on those notifications. Did you hit record, Chris?